2023 certainly was the year of artificial intelligence, the big breakthrough from language models, sending Nvidia shares soaring, a lot of chip makers also in their midst, and some knock-on effect into software. Eventually, the question for next year is, where are we in the process of building out these services? Joining us to talk AI and the outlook for next year is Joshua Pantony, CEO at Boosted AI. Josh, tell us about what you guys are doing at Boosted, and welcome to the Schwab Network.
Well, thank you for having me on. Boosted AI is a generative AI platform for professional investment managers. We're used by about 180 some of the biggest asset managers in the world, with assets totaling in the trillions, to basically accelerate the research process, consume huge amounts of information, to basically monitor their holdings, and track and understand risk in the market in sort of non-traditional ways.
Okay, so you're investment focused. Is it a platform? Is it like bespoke research? What are you selling?
Yeah, it's primarily a platform. You can the type of things you could do is ask it, what's my exposure to something like the Ukrainian war? Or if I think global warming is going to be a continuing trend, what are the kind of trades I should make? Or what do I think are going to be the big trends happening in generative AI over the next year or two? It kind of goes out, analyzes millions of documents, anything from traditional financial documents, to news, to things like credit card data, or non-traditional data like maritime data, things like that. So it's just going out, analyzing a huge amount of information, and then trying to succinctly give an answer to a professional money manager.
That's cool. And was this something you guys were developing before the advent of the language models from ChatGPT, et cetera? And how are you incorporating those new technologies?
Yeah, we've actually been around since 2017. And it's pretty key to kind of our entire stack. So everything we do, from trying to understand user intent, trying to sort of analyze information, to, again, trying to find these non-standard risk sources. I'd say we've seen a major acceleration in 2023, but we've been operating in the space for quite a while.
Okay. So right now, what are you seeing as the most needed information? What's like the hot search on the platform?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is kind of trying to understand what are the risks that nobody's really looking at. So in the absolute short term, supply chain disruptions are something that aren't really being talked about a ton, but are really having a really big impact on the market. We've continued to have things like COVID era problems. This has been compounded by the chip ban, and then recently we have the sort of attacks happening in the Red Sea, which have caused major disruption. Something like 10% of the world's trade goes through the Red Sea, and that's going to have huge knock-on effects, everything from like grain, oil, to consumer goods. And companies as disparate as Lululemon to like IKEA are going to be impacted by this. So kind of these like non-standard risks is probably the biggest thing that people are looking at.
Interesting. I feel like our conversation has kind of been limited to the commodity realm on that subject so far, but it sounds like there are some real equity implications if it lasts.
Yeah, I think so. And again, it's not just the Red Sea, it's these sort of continuous compounded issues that continue to happen across the entire supply chain.
Got it. Now, what about for the AI specific? Can you use your AI to research AI? Does it work like that? What do you see like as we're going from like the picks and shovels phase to whatever comes next? Or do we just stay in the picks and shovels phase all next year?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think 2023 was really a year where a lot of companies were experimenting and trying to understand how they could unlock value. 2024 is really going to be a year where you start to see some of those really high value implementations actually get deployed in wide scale. And so there's kind of three main areas that we, the machine, think are likely going to be winners. Number one, anyone kind of connected to computation. Training large language models requires a huge amount of computation behind the scenes. And anyone, like big companies like AMD or Nvidia are probably going to continue to be winners from that. But also, smaller companies that provide infrastructure, either to make these large language models better or to actually train and build the large language models. So the sort of second category would be back-end infrastructure, and this would be companies like Oracle or Snowflake. And then the third category is you're going to start to really see some of those beginning early adopters start to see, we think, generational gaps in their capabilities versus people that are not deploying it. So this could be anything as disparate as like Adobe with the Adobe Firefly product that we released, or things like GitLab, which is using generative AI to enhance developer productivity.
I like
So
that. I like that phrase you used in there. Did I hear "we in the machine"? Yeah,
yeah,
it's like the
we
name of
think
a
of it
movie.
largely as a human working with the machine.
Got it.
Our byline is that AI is not going to replace you, but someone working with AI might.
Okay. So we're kind of in a bit of a transition phase then, where we should start to expect product delivery. I mean, kind of like using yourself as an example there. I mean, incorporating new AI. It seems like it's been a very hardware-focused story for the stock market. I think a simple way to kind of propose maybe what comes next is, does it become like a software story next year?
Yeah, I mean, we think so. Certainly in our direct experience, the number of clients we had basically 4x within the year. And at the beginning of the year, a lot of our clients were really kind of tentatively exploring it, trying to understand it. And as we've shifted into the end of the year, we're seeing applications kind of across the entire space. We think for our clients, you're seeing productivity gains as much as 30, 40 hours in a month on certain key tasks. And my expectation would be that's probably a broader trend happening across every other industry.
Adobe, GitLab too, that you singled out there as leading the front in terms of giving the tools for people to develop their own use case with AI?
Yeah, yeah. Adobe in particular with the Firefly product, it's basically one of the first professional grade image generation systems that you can use to generate images. You 100% own the copyright, and seeing some of the productivity people can do, it's really, really incredible. And then, just poking into GitLab, there's a few products that kind of do this sort of thing. There's the Microsoft Copilot and a few other variations. But developers that are using systems like that are seeing productivity gains in the 50% plus range. And again, same kind of thing in our company. The types of developers that are using that tend to see massive productivity gains over other things. But I think there'll be broader trends too. Companies like Mercedes-Benz have started trying to pilot this in hundreds of thousands of vehicles. You're starting to see other more like data-oriented companies using this as a sort of wrapper to, like FactSet, using this as a wrapper to try to get access to more data faster and quicker. So I highlighted a few key examples there, but I think it's just going to be a broad trend.
All right. Love the specific examples and love the passion in the commentary. Thanks, Josh. We'll definitely keep in touch.
Perfect.
Appreciate it. Josh Pantony, CEO at Boosted AI.